In the previous lesson, we saw how we can import objects from the libraries that we can manage in ARCHICAD. So we saw how we can install and also create our own embedded libraries by importing objects from different software. In this video, we're gonna concentrate on our own project. So we're gonna start with the reference image and then build up a project using building information modeling tools like the walls, which are probably the most important and the first tools that you're gonna use. So I'm gonna take this lesson 05 where we imported an image and we set up the correct size by scaling using references. And so I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna use this reference image right here, which is placed in a dedicated worksheet. So I'm gonna get rid of everything else, just selecting and deleting all the other references which I don't need right now. There we go. So I can use this one only, and I'm gonna save this as the lesson 11. Okay, so let's get started. Now first, before we actually get started, I want to show you a couple of extra options, because in the previous video we also saw how we can use the options here to manage different aspects of our project. And in particular, we saw the project preferences. This is where you can set up your working units. And usually I use centimeters when I'm working on an apartment like this, which could be like interior design or changing the spaces, and in general working with small projects like rooms or apartments. So before we continue and start drawing our walls, I want to go here to options, and I want to show you some work environment options. Now this is where we can, again, we already said that, where we can customize the software itself, where we can change colors and a lot of other stuff. But you can also go here and apply a profile. So you can use a ready an existing profile ready-made, or you can create your own. So if I go here in the work environment, I can start just by creating a new profile, and I can call this, for example, JBD, and this is going to be my profile. So every time you customize something, this is good because you can work on your own, and whenever you think you've done some mistake or something that could cause problems, you can go back just by going here and selecting an existing profile. Or also from here you can select and apply the standard, the presets profiles. And then you have other stuff here in the work environment. Now each of these one will actually get you in the work environment panel, which is a really big panel, and we will find a lot of things right here. We don't need to do everything in this video. I'm just gonna do a quick tour because I want to show you then how you can start drawing your apartment. So let's go in the most important things that are inside here. You can see you have the possibility to work with the effects. You can get rid of some effects if you want, so you can change the speed, and you can change the colors again. So you can customize the color of the selection dots, marquee colors, the one that we see when we see a line, for example, and the highlight elements, and so on. You can figure out yourself. It's not so hard to understand. And here also sometimes you have transparency and opacity settings. Also tracker for the snaps. You can see here the text color and the guides that we saw, the snap guide color. You can customize anything. I'm not gonna touch anything here because I want to keep the standards, but you can come here and change. Also here the cursor snap range 5 pixels, it could be important, and the incremental angle and horizontal grid and other stuff concerning the snaps, which we already talked about. Now let's jump into the most important things, and then perhaps we can come back here later, but again, feel free to continue your tour here to check all these things in details. And another thing you can do is to not to use anti-aliasing for horizontal and vertical lines, or in general you can deactivate anti-aliasing, which is an effect that's gonna show you everything better, but it's gonna, if you don't have like a strong graphic card, you wanna be a little bit faster, you can use this option right here. And also the memory usage, if you want to use less memory, you can drop down this one here, so you have some like hardware settings as well. And again, other colors. Now, one that I really think is really important here is data safety and integrity. So you can change here, if you want, the recovery file interval, saving interval. So I think that ultra safe will be really good because it's gonna save each step you're gonna do. So if accidentally your computer shuts down or your program shuts down, you will have everything in a recovery file, and this is really handy. And this is where they're going to be stored, so you can also change the location of the files that are going to be stored. And if you don't have like enough space in your main hard disk, you can change this directory to another one. Go to choose location, browse, and just select another position in the computer. And also undo limits, I use this at the maximum, so it's going to be 99 steps that I can go backward in the history, so that I can retrieve things that I've done and then I regret, and then I go back. So you can increase this. I think this is also going to affect the RAM memory as well. And I think that's good enough here. And this is like teamwork reminders here if you work with teams, and that's it. I think this is good enough. Let's move forward. Network and update special folders. Again, this is where you can change location for these specific like temporary folders, cache. So this is gonna take some space. If you want to free that space in your main hard disk, you can move everything in a like secondary hard disk that you have, if you have it. And this is one, I think this is really important, keyboard shortcuts. Now you can customize here also toolbox. You can customize the menus, the toolbars, so you can get really into this in a really specific way. But I think this one here is most important of all. This is something you could do like at the beginning, while all the other you can figure out later. Now this is where you can see all the different commands in ARCHICAD. So you have a full list of every command, and by selecting one of these you can see if there is a shortcut key or more than one, so more shortcuts. And you can also change it if you want. You can delete, you can customize it yourself. Now you also here you have a scheme. You can see it's called standard shortcuts 26. So you can use again like the presets, or if you go here to shortcut schemes, you can create your new one. So you can say, okay, store this new one as JBD shortcuts 26 store, and this is going to be my customized version. And you can also import from another computer, or you can export. So if you're moving from a machine to another, you want to take with you the shortcuts that you have set up, you can do it just like that. So if always use duplicate, don't, well, these are locked by the way, but always try to make a copy, not work on the original. And let's say that I'm looking for something specific here. For example, I want to see the lock command, which is something that I use often. You can see that this is not, it doesn't have any shortcut assigned. So I can click here and assign the shortcut key. Could be, for example, let's say Shift B. But you can see that this is already in use. It's assigned to the bottom elevation. So I can do assign anyway. This is gonna override, so it's gonna change things. So this is why it's useful to create a customized scheme. Now let's try with something else like Shift Alt B. Okay, now you can see this is free. So